Welcome back, and let us now discuss the topic assessment of individuals. Till this lecture or till last lecture, we have covered all the provisions of Income Tax Act which are relevant for the second year students across the nation. In any university, whatever we have covered, those are the provisions which are applicable for undergraduate level studies. We have covered introduction, residential status, salary, house property, PGBP, capital gain, other sources, clubbing, set off and carry forward deductions, agricultural income, alternate minimum tax. And after this, since we know now all the provisions which are applicable to an individual, now we must be in a position to compute total income as well as tax liability of an individual assessee. Now, practically, I do not need to tell you anything about this chapter because this is not a new chapter. It is having a combination of all the earlier provisions. So I will discuss only one example with you. There is no theory in this chapter because it's a combination of all earlier chapters. So I will discuss one numerical with you. A question of civil services examination which came in IAS, civil services exams. Let me discuss that one question with you. Otherwise, we have already covered so many questions of this chapter because this chapter is not separately required. Whenever you have a mix of question having something of capital gains, something from salary, some deductions, it becomes a case of assessment of individual. So how do you compute the total income and tax liability of an individual assessee? Let me discuss with you a small example. So it's a combination basically. Only one example I will discuss. Please read this example. Please read it. You can take this snapshot of or screenshot of this example also. This question came in Civil Services 2015. It came in Civil Services exam for the students who are having commerce and accounting option, accountancy option. So please read this question, then I will discuss with you. Please have a look at this question for 2 to 3 minutes and then take a photo also, and then I will discuss with you. After this, almost our course is on the completion now. Please read this case. And almost the course is over. Please have a look at the question carefully. Now this is, you can say, assessment of individual. So practically it is a salary question. Most of the contents are salary. So this is assessment of individual. Shall I start solving it? If you have taken the photographs, please raise your hand. If you have taken the photo, can I start solving it? Please raise your hand. Okay, so let me start solving it. It's not a tough question. Now presentation I'm not showing. I will simply start showing the values. B is employed by A Limited at Delhi throughout the financial year ending 31st March 20. He furnishes the following particulars for the computation of his total income for the assessment at 2021. Basic salary. So let us compute total income. So how do you solve it? Solution. Basic salary. So I'm not showing the full presentation. Basic salary is how much? 66 lakh rupees. 50,000 into 12. Basic salary is how much? 6 lakh. Personal pay. What is personal pay? Basically for civil servants, personal pay for an IAS officer means whenever the IAS officer is transferred from one job to another, where at presently I am withdrawing a salary of 1 lakh per month, but I'm transferred because of some emergency. Maybe some riots have taken place, or maybe some corruption is going on in any other department, and I'm supposed to be in very good record. Maybe my reputation in the IAS fraternity is very good and honest person. So maybe the government thought that, the Prime Minister thought that this person should be given the charge of some another area where some corruption or some serious issue has happened. But at that position where the job is, for example, the salary is only 90,000. Presently, I am withdrawing 1 lakh rupees per month. And because of my capabilities, I am being transferred to another area only for some time where the salary is only 90,000 because the post may be different. Maybe tomorrow, maybe today, the post which I am presently occupying is having 1 lakh salary, but where I am being transferred for 2 months or 4 months or 5 months, at that place, at that designation, the salary is only 90,000, for example. So why? So is it a type of punishment for me for doing better job? So government says because I will be given less salary. So why I should go? So government says no issue. We will personally protect your pay. That is known as personal pay. That at that job, though the salary is 90,000, but for you, personal pay for you will be 10,000, which will be at par. So that will make my present salary equal to the salary which I withdraw, which I will be drawing there. The position which I'll be shifted for the time being is having a salary of 90. So government says 10,000 is your personal pay. Is the point clear? Is the meaning of personal pay clear now? It is only personally for me only, not for everyone. The moment I will come back to my job, another person who will join will get that salary 90,000. So personal pay is nothing but basic salary. Personal pay is nothing but basic salary for me. So personal pay is nothing but basic salary. How much is personal pay then? 30,000 into 12, 3,60,000. Next point. Conveyance allowance 3,000 per month. Can you tell me the treatment of conveyance allowance? Conveyance allowance is in that category where exemption is available. But how much? To the extent it is actually spent. But since nothing is spent, so full amount is taxable. Uniform allowance is also that allowance where exemption depends upon actual expenditure, but nothing is actually spent, so full amount is taxable. Uniform allowance 24,000. You should write full form. Next point. Knowledge update allowance. Do you remember this is also that allowance? Research allowance, academic allowance, knowledge update allowance, where exemption depends upon actual expenditure. So how much I actually spent? 1,800. How much I received? 2,500. So how much is the taxable amount? Difference. Knowledge update. I'm writing the full form. Allowance. 2500 minus 1800 into 12. Exemption depends on actual expenditure. ₹8,400. Next point, medical allowance. It is that allowance where exemption is not at all given. So actual spend doesn't matter. It is fully taxable. ₹1,000. Entertainment allowance 1,000 per month into 12. Do you know for entertainment allowances I will get a deduction also? For entertainment allowances I will get a deduction also. But here the employer is illimited. So just because I assumed that this is a case of an IAS officer, it doesn't mean that it is actually the example. Since the question came in civil services, so I tried to explain the concept of personal pay. But in this example, the assessee is a private sector employee. So for private sector employees, there is no deduction of entertainment allowance. For private sector employees, no deduction. Add it and then you deduct only when the employee is a government employee. He is provided with gift vouchers worth ₹25. It is gift in kind. And do you remember gift in kind is exempt up to ₹5,000. It is not cash because it says worth. So it is not cash. I have been given some vouchers from which I can purchase some products. So it is in kind gift. 5,000 is exempt. So how much gift is taxable? So I'm discussing basically nothing. The salary chapter. His employer contributes 15% of the basic salary to RPF. Similar amount is deducted from his salary as his contribution. For employer contribution, I will get an exemption of 12% of salary. And for my contribution, I will get deduction under section 80C. How much is the amount contributed? 15% of basic. So what is this? Employer's contribution RPF. 15% of basic. How much is basic? I told you that personal pay is nothing but basic pay. I gave you an example of an IAS, but the same thing can happen in a private company also. Maybe the Tatas or Adani, these big groups have there so many branches or head offices. Maybe one person is to be shifted to another job where the salary is less. So personal pay can be given at any level. So how much is the amount of basic? It is not 6 lakh, it is 6 lakh plus 3 lakh, 60. So effectively, how much is the employer's contribution to RPF? How much is the employer contribution? 144. How much is employee's contribution? 144. But employee's contribution, when I will end up computing gross total income, I will deduct deductions. Which section? 80C for employee's contribution. RPF. I will give it this deduction of 1,44,000. For employer's contribution, how much is exempt? 12% of salary. And do you know 12% of not basic salary? 12% receiving 15% of basic. On receiving department cannot say anything. Receiving is what depends upon between me and my employer. But how much is exempt? That depends upon department. So my exemption is 12% of basic plus DA forming part plus commission based on fixed percentage. So basic is 6 lakh plus 360. It is basic. DA forming part is not given and commission is not given. Had those been given, I would have taken it for the purpose of exemption. And with this, my exempted amount comes out to be 1,15,200. So how much is the taxable amount for RPF? 28,800. You can stop me and ask me the doubts if you have any. Then what? He gets house rent allowance of 20,000 per month against a rent of 25,000 per month paid by him for his residential accommodation. Now you have to compute the Hra exemption. So how will you compute it? Hra received. This is like assessment of individual. So it's a combination of all chapters, etc. Hra received is how much? 20,000 into 12, which is 2,40,000. How much is exempt? You have to compute least of the following. How do you compute least of the following? Note 1. Fair you can do yourself. Hra exemption. How do you compute? First point is 50% or 40% depending upon the residential house where it is situated. So the question is Delhi. The house is in Delhi. It is my assumption because job is in Delhi, and if nothing is mentioned where I reside, I will reside in Delhi itself. So first point is 50% of salary, and 50% of salary. Salary is what? Basic plus DA forming part plus commission based on fixed percentage of turnover achieved by the employee. Since DA forming part and commission percentage base is not given, so whatever is basic is the final salary. That basic is what? 6 lakh plus 3,60,000 of what? 9,60,000, which is how much? Which is how much? 4,80,000. Second point is what? Hra received. How much I received as Hra? 2,40,000. And my third point is how much? Rent paid, which is 25,000 per month, which makes it to 3 lakh minus 10% of salary. And it will give me my third point as 2,04,000. So which is least? 2,04,000 is least. So out of 2,40,000, which is Hra received, 2,04,000 is exempt from tax. His employer paid electricity and telephone bills of his residential house. It's a perquisite. So electricity bill 70,000, telephone 20,000. Telephone is an exempt perquisite, but electricity is taxable. So this is perquisite of electricity. 70,000 tax it. Telephone facility is a tax-free perquisite. So whatever bills are paid, that is exempt from tax in my hands. Nil. During the year, he made the following payments. These are deductions now. That means let us wind up salary. How much is the total? 6 lakh plus 3,60,000 plus 36,000 plus 24,000 plus 8,400 plus 60 plus 12 plus 20 plus 2,880 plus 36,000 plus 70,000. It is 1255,200. Calculation you can also please check. Then standard deduction is always given 50,000. Taxable salary is how much? Civil services exam question and very easy. After this, during the year, he made the following payments. I purchased the life insurance policy for my own health, 1,20,000, sum assured 10 lakh. Life policy for major son allowed 25,000 premium. Mediclaim paid in cash disallowed. I cannot give 80D if I pay mediclaim in cash, otherwise I would have got it. So one thing you must remember that 80D always you should show the things 80D nil because the payment is cash. Next point. Donation of 2 lakh to an approved charitable trust. Do you remember 80G? When donation is to a charitable trust and purpose is not written, whether it is family planning or not, I should assume it as without family planning. It is not for the purpose of family planning. And how much is the deduction in this category? It is table 2 donation where there is a limit applicable, and after limit applicable 50% is allowed. So I need to compute 80G also. Compute the total income assuming life insurance policies have been taken in 2017. So whenever LIC, not LIC, whenever life insurance policies are taken on or after 1st April 2012, how much is the eligible amount? Premium paid or 10% of sum assured, whichever is less. And how much is long-term capital gain? 4 lakh rupees. So first let me add LTCG. After salary, let me add LTCG, which is 4 lakh. I will get my GTI, which is now 16 lakh 5,200. Now it's very easy because own policy 1,20,000 or 10% of sum assured, which is less. ATC own policy, own life insurance policy 1,20,000 or 10% of sum assured, which is less. 10% of sum assured is less, so deduct 1 lakh. Next point. LIC on the life of major son. Since sum assured is not given, I will assume that 25,000 is eligible. Son's policy 25,000. Mediclaim paid in cash disallowed. Then only 80G is left now. Now total is more than 1,50,000. I know that deduction under section 80C cannot exceed 1,50,000. And last 80G. How do you compute 80G? It is very easy, very easy. Note 2. Need to first compute my adjusted GTI. 10% of adjusted GTI. How do I compute my 10% of adjusted GTI? GTI tag 5,200 minus LTCG minus STCG section 111A, which is not given, minus all deductions of section 80C to 80U except 80G, that is only 1,50,000. With this, my adjusted GTI comes out to be 10,55,200 into 10%. It becomes 1 lakh. It becomes 1,05,200, 520. And how much I have donated? 2 lakh rupees. So 2 lakh is ineligible. 2 lakh is ineligible. How much is the eligible amount? 1,05,020 rupees. This is the point. 1,05,520 multiplied by 15%, because I'm assuming that it is not for not assuming, I have to assume that it is not for family planning. So just approved charitable trust is always eligible for 50%. It makes my 80G as T2. Now you can see such questions have come in civil services also. It's a combination of salary, capital gain, deduction, and deduction. One technical also 80D. So it is a tough question, but it requires practice. If you don't do practice, then you cannot attempt it. So in civil services, if you are interested, you can appear for that exam also. You can clear that exam. So many students of our college have cleared the exam at very high ranks. So you can try for that examination also. In commerce and accountancy, it's a good option. Anyhow, my total income is 14 lakh 2,440 rupees. 1402 440. Yes, 440 is the correct answer. That's it. Any problem, please ask. If it is clear, please raise your hand. If it is clear, please raise your hand. Assessment of individual is also over. Just to tell you that what factors you should remember. Let me copy that paragraph for you, which I have written in my book, that you must know that how you should proceed basically. You should follow following steps basically. Please learn those. It will help you a lot. These steps you should follow. First, you compute the residential status. Then you compute the income under different heads. Then you apply the provisions of clubbing, apply the provisions of set off, apply the deductions, then compute total income. This is the sequence. Then, while computing tax, compute the tax by applying special rate and normal rate. Give rebate, add surcharge, add health and education cess, deduct prepaid tax, and that will give you the final answer. This is actually assessment of individual was not necessary to be covered by me, but I simply wanted to attempt one question just to make sure that it's not a different chapter, it's a combination of all the chapters. With this, we have completed assessment of individuals, and in the next class tomorrow we will wind up assessment of Hindu undivided family. It's also not a new chapter basically. This is also having a combination of all earlier chapters, so I will only solve a numerical. And very soon we will wind up the course, most probably by within 2 days we will wind up our entire course. And goodbye from my side. Any problem you can stay, otherwise you can leave this session. Good night.